All right, so 5 months in the Philippines, Cebu City, a country where there's a lot of surprises that kind of shocked me a little bit and that weirded me out a little bit as well, to be honest with you. So there's like a certain phenomena, hello, in the Philippines where you see, especially in Cebu City, you see like a lot of like old white dudes with a lot of very young girls. And I've been to different countries where you have similar dynamics, you know, like Colombia, Thailand, wherever. Like there's always like some older man with younger women. But in the Philippines, this is like the most extreme version that I've ever seen in my life. So it literally is turning Western white losers into, let's say, winners. But we actually want to dig a little bit into that because I don't really think that they're winners. If you really look at it, you will see that if you're honest about the dynamic that you have going on, you'll see that it is almost so obvious that this woman is not with the guy for him, but just simply for money, okay? So Philippines is one of the most poor countries I've been to so far. Especially in the recent years, it became stronger and stronger and stronger because they had like a corrupt government. And I'm not making this up, you know, this is what like the Filipinos say themselves. So I think this is something that kind of made things economically worse for the people here. And I guess that there's some girls in the Philippines who are young, beautiful, who see this as an opportunity to have these white dudes that come from Western countries, because Western countries have inflation, they're getting more expensive, they're hardcore feminists. Of course, like if you're an old white man, of course, I mean, I kind of understand it. But what pisses me off about this dynamic is the dishonesty about it. So I met a guy here in a shopping mall, and he has like a strong disability, like his legs are kind of chopped off. He's super obese, not attractive at all. He's talking like nonstop, you know, ba 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 ba, with no interruption. Super self-centered, a little bit arrogant, you know. And I started talking to him about like dating situation in the Philippines, and he says, "Oh well, yeah, you know, Western women hate me." Well, why? I mean, because he's unattractive. Of course they hate him. And then, yeah, but the Filipinas, they love me, you know. And I was like, look, man, do they love you or do they love your money? And he seems to be convinced that they love him. And it's just not the truth, man. Like, this is like, how can you be so disillusioned and full of yourself that you believe that there's, like, it is obvious when you look in yourself in the mirror that you are unattractive, and I think that despite his disability, he probably could have done more to look good. I'm not like, look, I don't want to be an asshole, but it's just the truth. But yet, he chooses to make absolutely nothing out of himself and still have an ego like, I don't know what. So I'm like, where does this confidence come from? Where does this idea come from that you're somehow this great dude? Like, you're exploiting the women from poverty who are so desperate that they might be with an old dude like you. Isn't that like so sad? Like, it's how, if you have a relationship like that, like how can you not feel bad? Hey, how's it going? How can you not feel bad for them, you know? I think that like, the reason I don't like it is because it like gives me a bad reputation as a foreigner as well. I'm thinking about like how it is projected onto me in the end, and of course negatively, because when they're gonna see me, they're gonna think, oh, it's just I had like the noise in the Philippines is crazy. I think this is like the hood up there, so let me turn around. I don't want to go there. Of course, if they of course, if they see me, they're gonna think, oh, it's another dude. You know, I had a Filipina, and she's like, oh, you're hunting for Pinay, right? Pinay are like Filipinas. And I'm literally, like, I don't even want a Filipina. Like, I don't want one. There's a bunch of different reasons for that, but some of them are cultural. Some of them are because of the situations, because of how white men are viewed in the Philippines. As, you know, these, like, I get it, you know, this is this poor country, and then I come here and they know that my money takes me further. But comparably, actually, I don't have that much money. However, I have a high earning potential for the future, of course, compared to them. But again, like, they see me and they still think that, oh, I'm here for that also. Then, I don't know, there's some females that are kind of traumatized or something. Like, I don't know why this woman says to me, like, hey, you're here hunting for Pinay. Like, I just approached her very respectfully, you know, and said, like, hey, you know, I thought you were cute and want to meet you. She's like, oh, you're one of those guys, like, you're hunting for Pinay. I'm like, no, not really. Like, it's, I know that there's many foreigners who do that, but I'm actually more looking for, like, serious stuff now. You know, I lived enough playboy lifestyle, and it's not really something that I'm into anymore. Back to the topic. So it pisses this self-centered, this arrogance of those men who have nothing going for them, and then, like, exploit this, like, easy situation is why they think this way. Well, she's right that this, like, situation exists, you know, like, it is, like, a real thing. They reflected on me as well, and I just kind of find it sad, because I'm literally totally opposed to that dynamic myself. Because, you know, I actually don't value relationships just for benefits. Maybe that's just me being a hopeless romantic, I don't know. Like, in this world today, there's always like, oh man, it's valued for money. Women have to be like this, like supermodels. Like, it's broad noise. I'm so happy when I leave this country, honestly. You know, I hate the Philippines. It's just not my country. It's too chaotic, too noisy, too everything. Yeah. Look, the truth is, if you have a guy and he's walking around with a girl that is too good to be true, then it most likely is too good to be true. I heard this from another, like, YouTuber before, but it is just a fact. Yes, if you're 35 or 30 or even 40 and you're in good shape and, like, you have all these things going for you, then I'm sure you can attract a girl in their 20s and date her. But in the Philippines, we're more looking at something like men in their 60s dating women in their 20s, or men in their 50s. And yeah, I just find this weird. I also find it weird that a lot of the Philippines, like, has this kind of dynamic where they also raise you to, like, messiah status just because you're white, you know? And it's like, everyone's like, whoa, you know? Yeah, I don't know, it just... This whole dynamic just cringes me out. I know a lot of them are being friendly, but and I respect that, but there's sometimes, like, this obsession as well, you know, and I just think it is weird, because I don't think that you are a valuable person just because you have money. Absolutely not. Like, in fact, I would raise the question, well, how did you get that money? You know, you can't get money by exploiting child slavery workers. Does that make you a good person? No. Like, it is this view on measuring value based on money, no matter if you're a man or woman, it's just very superficial, and it's not going to serve you. If you marry a guy like that, if you surround yourself with people like that, it is just stupid. And being a digital nomad, like, having been into this countries, like, so much of it is just staged as fuck. Maybe it is triggering my own insecurities. I can't tell you. You know, maybe that's just me projecting. But I still think it is weird. And a lot of the men here would be total losers in their home country, you know? So it is like... It's just strange. Excuse me? How much is it this per kilo, the mango?
160.
160? Okay. How much for the bananas?
100 per kilo.
Per kilo. Can you give me 1 kilo of mango?
Oy, 1 kilo mango.
And 1 kilo of bananas. Okay, so we're getting some fruit now here. This mango.
Kaya man kas an iyang mangga. 1 kilo.
Yeah, a lot of those folks would be like losers in their home country. And you know, I know like I worked as a dating coach for years, okay? I know like how important social status game is, and you always want to put yourself in situations where you have more social status than in other situations. Right? It's better to be like a big fish in a small lake than a small fish in a big lake. So you know the saying. However, I don't know. I don't think that. I do think that like attraction is something unconscious. Yeah, like the whole social status, the whole money, is something that man has created consciously, and like there's no one who can make an unconscious. Like if you make a choice as a woman to be with a guy because of money, you're doing like an conscious choice, right? That's not something that is really driven by a natural attraction. It's something that you make out of a calculation for the future. And I think a lot of the relationships you see here are exactly like that. Like there's no unconscious attractions going on because those men are like obese, old, and unattractive, yet walking around with really attractive girls who have like a lot of options. You know, they have a lot of like attractive guys that they can choose from. So why are they with this old dude now? And I'm not saying like, you know, that's not something that can happen, but like in the Philippines, it's just so disproportionate that it is a little bit strange for me. And I've talked to other men who've experienced the same thing. And I just think it is, it just wants me to go away and have nothing to do with these folks. And it's just giving me an ick. I just find it cringe, you know, you can say about it whatever you want. I don't really care. I'm going back to South America in summer. I already booked a ticket and put some of the folks from the Philippines, some of those guys to Brazil, for example, and see how much success they would have there. Absolutely nothing. Why? Because Brazil is way less money focused. And more like how you actually need to be attractive, you know, you need to look good, and the women there have way higher standards. I don't know, it's just like comparing like a $1 store to like high-end designer thing, you know. So it really depends on. What's up? Arthur Fostro. Fostro, yeah. ARTHUR and then FAULSCRH.
Give a video naman. You're live.
What?
You're live.
What?
The vlog.
Yeah, I like to do.
Yeah.
I like to do vlogs.
Is vlogger.
Huh?
Kinira. Is vlogger.
Yes.
Oh, vlogger.
So it's just comparing two totally different things, you know.